Hi everybody, this is Chad the Gaming Dad, back with you once again. And on this video we're doing something a little bit different. You see, I've been playing a lot of PS1 games recently, and I've been wondering what's the best way to play PS1 games. Some of you might not know, but there's a lot of different ways that you can play original PlayStation games. Now, most of us know and probably think that playing an original PS1 game on an original PlayStation using a CRT TV is probably the best way to go. And I agree, that probably is the best way to go because that's how they programmed it, because that's what it was going to be played on when it was purchased originally. But here in 2018, we have a lot of different choices. Yes, you can hook it up that way, but most of the time, you're going to be plugging in something that's going to be going on to a new HD TV that produces pictures quite a bit differently than a CRT would. So let's take a look and compare and see if there's any difference. See maybe what the best way to play a PS1 game is today in 2018. The game I've been playing a lot recently is Ridge Racer 4, R4. So that's what I'm going to be using for the comparison. Now, the different ways that you can play a PS1 game today are basically this. You can play it on an original PlayStation. Like I said, you can hook that in to an HD TV as long as you have the right inputs, or maybe one of these little boxes that transfers the old signal into an HDMI or whatever. That's number one. The second way is to play it through a PS2, because of course the PS2 is backwards compatible. But one thing that people may not know about, on the PS2 there's actually two different settings. So when you first turn on your PS2, you see down in the bottom right corner it says version. Click on that with the triangle, and then it'll take you to the version information, and you'll see console, browser, CD player, but then you'll see the PlayStation driver. Highlight that and then click on the triangle again for options. Once you're in there, you have the option of setting the disk speed from standard to fast, and then texture mapping from standard to smooth. So the emulator or whatever they're using inside the PS2 has different options. And then on the PS3, it doesn't take the original fat PlayStation 3 to play PlayStation 1 games. Now, as far as the PS2 backwards compatibility, they did remove that for most of the PS3s, but they left in the ability to play PS1 games. So when you put the PS1 games into your PS3, you can hit the PlayStation button, it'll bring up a menu where you can actually select again whether you want this to be standard or smoothing on. So I'm comparing in this video all 5 different ways. The original PS1, and then the 2 different settings, standard and smooth, for both the PS2 and the PS3. We're going to take a look and see which way is the best way to play an original PS1 game today in 2018. So first, what I've done is put all the 5 different ways that you can play this at the very beginning of Ridge Racer, where we take a look at the opening cinematic. What kind of changes are there? What kind of differences can you see in this opening cinematic? Let's pause it right here, where you see the name come up. There's a little bit of a kind of a digital noise or something like that around some of the letters. And if you look around, it almost to me seems like the PlayStation 3 standard setting highlights those little effects more than some of the other ones. But let's keep going and see what else we see. You can kind of see it again if I pause it here, around where the plant is. Take a look, you'll see little white dots, sort of in a square pattern, around where the plant in the top left corner is. They all have it, even the original PlayStation, but that one's actually muted quite a bit, whereas the one that's the most noticeable seems to be the PS3 when it's in standard mode. So going forward, some of the more fast motion stuff, everything seems to be just about the same. The PS3 is being captured at a higher resolution because it outputs it through the component video, whereas all the other ones, the PS1 and the PS2, you have to record those through composite. So the colors, I think, are a little bit better on the PS3 versions than they are on the other ones. But again, if we stop it here while she's in the tunnel, when she raises up her leg, notice how the original PlayStation is pretty smooth around her leg. And then also, it's pretty smooth on the PS2 version with smoothing on. But then you get down to the PS3, it's almost too clear for its own good in certain spots, especially without smoothing on. Things look a little bit more jagged and a little bit sharper, almost too sharp around the edges with PS3 standard. So okay, that's enough about the opening cinematic. That's just a movie that's playing, basically. What happens when you actually play the game and you're racing the car around?
Three, two, one.
Now, I tried to drive as close as I could to the same each time, but some of these are going to be a little bit different, but the beginning is set the same. Once again, we've got the original PlayStation, and then the two different ways that you can play it on PS2 and then on PS3. So let me go ahead and pause it right here. If you take a look, the original one doesn't look too bad. Some of the detail on the road is kind of blocky, and then some of the jaggy edges around some of the buildings and stuff are there. But look at what it looks like down on the PS3. Down on the PS3, it's much more pixelated on standard, and then almost too blurry on PS3 with smoothing on. Now, if you look at the PS2, the standard PS2 looks a lot more like the original PS1, but with smoothing on the PS2, I think it looks pretty good. It's not too blurry. I don't know. Take a look. We'll get it moving again. I'm trying to look closely for little speckles in where you would used to see lines that would form in between the polygons as they appear on the screen. Either way, everything is moving pretty quickly. This is a great old PS1 game that runs at a high frame rate, quality graphics, everything's pretty smooth, but it just seems like there's just a slight difference between each of the different ways that you can play the game. It's very close, almost the same. So what do you think? Between the opening cinematic and watching it race like this, is there something that you notice? Is there one that you prefer? Because we have a lot of different options, a lot of different ways that we can play original PS1 games today in 2018, and I think some of them actually enhance it. I don't know about you, but my personal favorite is playing PS1 games on a PS2 with smoothing on. I think that makes them look as nice as they can be. The PS3 almost overdoes it, but the PS2 with smoothing on just adds a little touch to make those little bit dated graphics smooth out just a little bit. Not too bad. And of course, don't forget the great music. The music in Ridge Racer is some of the most memorable earworm video game music you'll ever hear. So anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you see a difference, or do they all look the same? Everything in this video was captured using an Elgato capture card, and they were all set the same except for the PS3 was set to record through component cables as opposed to composite. So there you have it. But if you're into some retro stuff and you're playing PS1, hopefully this will give you an idea, the subtle changes, the little differences that you can expect to see between the different ways that you can play these classic great old games. So anyway, till next time, remember, you never outgrow video games. My name's Chad the Gaming Dad, and we'll see you on the next one. So long, everybody. Congratulations! You have made it to the end of the video. And now, for the obligatory end of video on YouTube crap. Honestly, everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you did like it. If you did, please share it with your friends, like, subscribe, and comment, because you know that's the only way that we can appease the robots that rule us on YouTube with all of the algorithms. There are links in the description as well if you would like to help the channel further. But really, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.